My name is Ritika Sahani. I'm the founder trustee of NGO Trinayani. Trinayani is celebrating Daan Utsav. We started on October 2nd. We go on till October 8th. Along with us is Dr. Rajesh Ramachandran and other team members of National Institute for Education for Persons with Multiple Disabilities. NIPMED is on board with us, facilitating these workshops and hopefully getting their own students and staff to be empowered with the information that we are sharing in these curated workshops. Soumita runs her award-winning fashion brand, Zyenika, and makes fashion inclusive by designing collections that caters to all, particularly people with visible and invisible disabilities, convalescents, and the elderly population. She also advises fashion, hospitality, and retail companies on diversity, equity, and inclusion policies related to compliances and inclusion solutions with respect to customer service, product design, employee sensitization, accessibility, and organizational inclusion policy. She started her career as a journalist, moving to policy research before focusing on becoming an entrepreneur herself, working on diversity and inclusion. She has graduated in sociology with postgraduate degrees from the Asian College of Journalism and the Institute of Social Studies, The Hague. Soumita uses her lived experience of an acquired disability at the age of 32. So Soumita herself is a wheelchair user, and this lived experience, along with her experience as a policy researcher and communication strategist to drive inclusion as an entrepreneur, consultant, and storyteller, is what makes her the best person to speak about adaptive fashion. Her work has been obviously covered extensively by the media. She's been an expert panelist, an expert speaker on TEDx, CNBC, NDTV, and more recently, she's published an anthology because, as I told you, she very recently did a workshop on storytelling. So she herself has published an anthology of fairy tales retold from a feminist DEI lens. And this, again, was published by another very interesting organization working in the field called Rising Flames, led by a very interesting individual called Nidhi Singhal. Congratulations, Soumita, and thank you so much for doing this with us. Over to you.
Let's talk about something really fun, which is clothes. Have any of you been clothes shopping offline, been to trial rooms, and got extremely frustrated? Yes, I can see people nodding. Can somebody tell me why? Why were they feeling frustrated? What frustrated you?
What frustrated me was the narrow space, and like there was no spaciousness. Yeah, that bothers me a lot. And now that I use a mobility aid, the mobility aid cannot get inside the room usually.
Yeah.
So that bothers me too.
Right. And any of the clothes that bothered you?
The clothes are like like the tight fitting clothes which have no like airways, like like how can I breathe in the clothes? Yeah, the clothes are usually designed for able-bodied people. That's the template for clothes.
Yeah. Do you have any opinion at all, Chinmay? Because also because it's nice to hear a man's voice on fashion.
I don't have any personal experience, but I've heard people like if there are zips on the back of dresses, then it's not inclusive because not everyone can reach out. And even in terms of makeup products, like some like require a lot of pressure to be put. So again, they cannot access makeup products. A lot of people with disabilities because of the pressure they have to put, or even the clothing, as I told, if they have zip lines and all of that.
Forget the disability part for 5 minutes. Just think about your own buying clothes. Like, have you bought clothes or have you tried clothes which looked amazing on the mannequin, but then when you were trying, you're like, what happened?
Like for me, I know the size, so it's usually a small size, 32. So I usually buy around that size only. So I haven't had any discomfort like so far because I usually know my size.
What about maybe, again, don't worry about the disability part, but if you have friends or family members, and you can talk about both men and women, do you think some of them just like shopping more than others? Some take a long time in the trial room or not? Some really don't like their clothes and some love their clothes.
Yeah, like some people, I think even my sister likes shopping a lot, and some people like certain textures more than others. Some people want more of shimmery kind of things. Some people want more of basic kind of clothes. Yeah, it varies because my sister likes shopping a lot. So
Sure.
I also,
Is it?
if I may add, Shamita, because I also have a lot of people who love to do. There are some who like to buy off the shelf, and even if it means getting it altered to their body type, and there are some who will swear by, they will buy a piece of cloth and get it tailored to suit their needs. And I always find that I always find it very fascinating how people pick up whatever they pick up. And then I have friends saying, get it altered, get it altered. And I find that very strange, because how do you get something altered and it still fits you and it still looks nice to you? So that's always been a major concern for me personally.
Can we go to the last picture I had sent you, which is the male and the female body types, and share it? Okay, so you will find something very similar for the female body also. I'll give you a quick look.
Yeah.
But this is interesting for two reasons. First and foremost, have a look in what we call the body shape. So we keep talking about people having body sizes.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing that you said, like, I know my size, I'm a small, I'm a 32, but nobody talks about body shapes. And
Mm,
irrespective of your size, you can have a different shape.
correct.
And that makes all the difference when you are making a kind of, like, when designers are designing and when people are wearing. So can we have okay, before we go, just have a look at the way it's I got it off the internet, right? And this is exactly how most people talk about male body shapes: rectangular and triangular, like giving it very, how do I say, cut and dry names. Now let's go to the female body shape. If you notice, just
Yeah.
notice, in this one, I made sure we don't have the extra line drawing it, but it's exactly the same. The pair is like the triangle in the man, right?
Mm,
Uh,
mm.
then, yeah. So the moment it comes to a woman's body, we talk about it differently. It's the same thing that we're talking about, but we talk about it so differently. And coming from both communications and fashion put together, that talk. So why am I talking about this in an adaptive fashion thing, right? Because fashion is meant to adapt your body irrespective of disabilities, because all our bodies are different, and the way we communicate about our body, that's what makes it interesting. If it's a man, then it's a cut and dry thing. If it's a woman, then you give us all the nice juicy fruit that is there to be. Exactly. It's very geometrical. It's very, meant to be. This is how it is. And then you almost are objectifying a woman's body, right? If this is not objectification, I don't know what is. But this is a very standard way of talking about body shapes in the industry, in your institutes. And then suddenly you wake up one morning and you wonder, oh, what's happening there? Like, why is it that women have a certain kind of clothes and men have a certain other kind of clothes? It's because the way we talk about it. It's the way we have told ourselves how it's supposed to be done. Now let's make it even more interesting. The hourglass shape of the woman's body, that's the most common shape to which clothes are made. However, that's not the most common shape to which women are born or men are born. Okay. So uh, nowadays, and I would say in the last 15, 16 years, or not even that actually, 15, 16 years is when people started talking about plus size a little bit more. But say around 7 to 8 years, that's when at least they have started making clothes that are not necessarily sticking to this hourglass
Yes.
shape. And we have, dealt with a little bit more. So, like Ritika said, I had developed a disability or acquired one at the age of 32. But I was an extremely flexible bodied person to the point when during the part of my diagnosis, doctors were like, I don't think you've lost any mobility. The first 2 years was like, I would keep saying I have, and they would keep saying I haven't. That's because after losing mobility, I was still average. I had the average mobility. And I was initially what doctors describe as super mobile and super flexible. Why is that? I was a dancer since I was 2.5. I was in martial arts. I would dance around, jump around, love my body, flex it in different directions. But even for a person like me, going to the trial room was extremely frustrating. And because I thought nothing was fitting me, and I was very confused because I was like, I'm not thin, but am I really that fat? Because nothing that's on the model, on the mannequin, never seems to be what I would like, when I'm in the trial room. Many years and decades later, I figured I just had a different body type. I'm a pear-shaped woman. And especially when you're dancing since you're 2.5, your body takes a certain shape. I'm a classical dancer. So with that body shape, as a pear body, I was trying on the hourglass and I was never looking good because it was either fitting my waist or it was fitting my breast. It was not fitting both ever at the same time. So I was like looking like a weird, so I was always looking weird. And I don't know any person who likes looking weird or being weird. So I didn't enjoy that. And I will not be surprised if there are many, many people like that who don't enjoy it. Now, like I said, like 15 to 16 years ago, when people started talking about plus size a little bit more, I'll tell you something that happened. They started like, instead of a 32 or a 34 or stopping at 36, they started stopping at 42. They started stopping at 44, 46. But I'll tell you the problem in that. Rajeshji, could you show me the other body type, the picture that we have, the two figures? So if you look at it, let's say the thin person was wearing a 32 and then he becomes fat and his clothes, we just, every part of like the shoulder, the chest, the waist, we just multiply it or add like 5 inches to every part. Do you think it will fit his fat version? Yes, no? Anybody? It's a guess and there's no, it's not an exam. I can see Ritika shaking her head. I don't know what you're doing. Just open your mic and say yes. So what the fashion designers did is that he was wearing a size 32, which means his chest is 32 and his waist is, let's say, I don't know, he's pretty thin, so his waist is also something like that. And then the fashion designer thought they will add 8 inches to every part of his torso so that, the fat version of him can fit in. I'm asking you, will that work?
No, because fat can increase part to part differently.
So, okay, if I understand you correctly, the fat person, the proportions of the fat persons of the bust and the waist is not the same as the proportion of a thin person. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's perfect. So it's very interesting. And what's your background, please?
MA in political science last year completed from Hindu College, Delhi University.
Okay, great. So I would say a political scientist could figure out what, interestingly, most of the fashion houses didn't. And they just started making clothes that are just larger versions of the smaller size. We can close this now. And that doesn't work, as Ashutosh really correctly pointed out. But I think I'm trying to tell you something very important. The fashion industry has not been seeing our bodies. They have not been understanding our bodies for a very, very, very long time. Now, for all those who have older parents and grandparents at home, what's the first thing while dressing up that they complain about? It's a very common complaint.
So I can talk about my mother. For example, she no longer likes um, uh, drawstrings. She wants
Okay.
things have elastic, so that she
So
can
it's,
just
it's it's difficult for hands to, do the bowing thing. Yeah. And quite right. Now think of a man's shirt. What would, if it's the same problem, how would he face the problem?
Yeah. So even fine motor control is where so buttoning
Yeah,
it becomes easier to just do a stitch button, or I have friends who put Velcro. No, not they're not disabled, but they find it just easier to kind of. I mean, they even prefer to buy shoes which have Velcro.
yeah, exactly. So when you say they're not disabled, what does that mean though?
So at times we always associate certain adaptations as if it is to be done by a certain community, and that's not the case. If it is
Yeah,
if it's an interesting thing, it will be of use to anybody.
sure. Rajeshri, can we play the first video called Mixed Shirts?
Oh,
Yes, madam.
video. Okay.
Sorry for the interruption. Could you please provide audio description?
All
Uh, I
right.
am I am
Okay.
visually impaired. Please provide audio description.
You're visually impaired, and okay. So, Ashish, just give me like a minute because I'll try and get the answers before I give, because the answers would have the description. What did we see there?
Ma'am, we saw the adaptation. I think that was done in the shirt, buttons that were easier to close in and open. So even I've observed in my case also, like some of my shirts have those kind of buttons at the beginning. And when I close those buttons, it's easier for me to put in the shirt in order. Otherwise, I sometimes misplace the order as well. So I noticed
Right.
and recollected that.
So, what was the adaptation? Could you notice that?
Like they didn't have to put the button inside the cavity or the place which usually there. It's usually interlocking system that's present in this video.
In this, it wasn't there. So, Ashutosh, I'll just very quickly describe the video to you. It just showed shirts. There were no. Later, there were people wearing it. We never showed the face of those people. We focused on the shirts, and we were just basically pulling the shirt up, out, and in, and they were closing on its own. So there was no magic. There was a magnet in every button. So the buttons had magnetic closures. Um, Interestingly, Chinmay, you pointed out to a very interesting thing that we just go up and down. We don't get the positions right. It frustratingly happens to almost everyone I know actually. But for some people, it happens more, and they find it more difficult to actually like get it right. Like most others, they will just open it and get it right the second time. Ritika said something very important, which is like, that's not from the community and they're not people with disabilities. So I'll tell you how I look at disabilities, and you may or may not agree with me. A disability is something that somehow is you are expected to do have an everyday life and your everyday chores in a easy, smooth manner independently. Ha, Ashutosh?
Ma'am, you mentioned it has magnet. So, like
Yes,
in the security checking, like on the metro or airport,
yes.
doesn't it create problem because iron should also
I have,
present there?
I have never really had anyone tell me that that was a problem, but good question. I have no idea. I don't know anybody who has come back to me saying that was a problem. I personally don't necessarily wear magnets myself. I would wear it only occasionally, and I don't take the public transport, so I really don't know from personal experience. But I'll try and ask other people. They haven't proactively given me this information.
Yeah,
How?
and I think Ashutosh, you have a point there, and it could be a problem because we know about what happens with the
Yeah.
DGC in the airport. But I think it's a very visual thing, correct? You can am I to presume, Shomida, you can see that there is a magnet.
No, they're usually hidden in the placards, but you
Um,
can touch and you would know that it's a
but you can
magnet.
feel it, correct? You can feel the magnet. So,
You can feel the magnet.
yeah. So those people who, I mean, I'm sure when they are frisking you, it will be a whistle throughout because of the magnets. But I'm sure they will understand. But you have a good point, Ashutosh.
Yeah. I also personally find that Velcros could be sometimes better than magnets. The reason I'm talking about these different things is that adaptive fashion or universal design, forget the fashion part, forget adaptive. Universal design is not a magic word. And when we say universal design, a lot of people who I speak with, many of the students I talk to from the design community, they tend to believe, and I try very hard to break that belief, is that it's a magic pill. It's like one size fits all, and that's exactly what we don't want. If a staircase is not good for everyone, so is a ramp. If you have a balance problem, you would not want a ramp, right? So a universal design is where you think of multiple aspects and you put it all together. So universal design is not a thing, it's a space. It could be a building, it could be anything, but it's a space where there are multiple features that are available, giving people the choice to do things as they find it easier and safer. And safety is a big concern. So Ashutosh, not only is it bad, I mean, probably it's probably bad for these airport securities, but even let's say if you have any kind of a surgery and you have metal transplant in your body, it's a big no, and you should not be having it. So while I talk about adaptive fashion, it's very important to know it's not like that shirt will solve everybody's problem. But that's a shirt that may solve one person's problem. And along with it, we will have a shirt that may not even have an opening. It just looks like a shirt, but it will function like a t-shirt. Then we will have with a Velcro. Then we will have with buttons, because some people like buttons. It's easy for them, right? So there is no one villain when it comes to designing. Designing is like universal designing, and all good designs are universal designs. Okay, anybody tells you otherwise, they're just misleading you. So designing is basically like having a multi-starrer movie and making sure every star gets the right place. You may like Tom Cruise better than, I don't know, Kevin Klein, and I may like the other way. I mean, Kevin Klein, sorry, is a brand, but Kevin Costner. And I might like the other way around, but we all have that equal time on screen and we all enjoy it. We all pay our 500 or 1,000, I don't know how much it is these days, and we're all happy. That So a piece of garment is never usually quote unquote adaptive. However, a fashion house or a brand, they can be adaptive by making sure there's something for everyone. You cannot have one thing for everyone, but you can always have something for everyone. Having said that, what is it that I mean when I say a something cannot be? So, Rajeshi, could you show me the maid's dress, please? So, we most of us women, we still need to crib. KBS, give me a second, I'll come to you. Crib about pockets. We like our clothes don't have pockets, our jeans have pockets where even our fingers don't go in, da 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 da. But let's look at it. Can we have blow it up a little bit, please? Zoom in. This is a garment from the 1940s. All I had to do was Google maid's dress 1940s. And this is what comes up. So it's very interesting. Nothing Indian, nothing anywhere from the global south. Ashutosh, give me a second. I will give you a description of it. But something European. So Ashutosh, what we see is a mannequin wearing a black dress till her knees and an apron tied to her waist, white collar, white apron, and a pocket on the apron. So this is nearly 70 years ago. No, more than that, right? What am I doing? 60 plus 25. That's 85 years ago. And a maid's dress had a pocket. So how come we don't have pockets? The idea that you need a pocket is evolving. A maid is a working person. She needs to keep things. She needs a pocket. So how come men always have pockets? because men are always expected to pay and they're always carrying the cash. So, irrespective of what century we were in, they were carrying wallets, or they were, even before that, they were carrying purses and they needed pockets. As you see more and more women working, hence having money, hence carrying wallets, and they don't care if you have paid for the date or not, and she is happy to offer, you see more women having pockets. So our clothes, Rajeshi, we are good with it. Maybe you can close the screen. Uh, our, our clothes talk about our society very, very strongly. But before I talk anymore, KV, you wanted to say something. You had raised your hand earlier.
Yeah, I joined a bit late. You may have answered it, but I want to ask a question.
Sure.
Universal design, does it
Yes.
mean that a paisama is prepared in such a way that everybody, it fits into for everybody, like for instance, a patient or even a person with
Yep.
locomotor disability? Or is it that different paisamas with different designs are prepared?
Now, the second one. So it's like this. If I go to a store to before you joined, we had shown picture where we say that naturally, like God has made human bodies in such a way that it usually can be categorized in 5 different shapes. So let's start from there. So a good fashion house is expected to cater to all 5 different shapes. Currently, it doesn't. So if that fashion house has been catering to all 5 different shapes and they are shape inclusive, and that's at least shape wise universal design. So there's something for everyone, but it may not be that one thing is meant for everyone. That's the basic rule of universal design.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so we get back to society and what happens and what we see in our clothes. So, very often, whatever we are seeing around us is shown in our fashion. Whatever we want, whatever we do, however we evolve. So, one of the bigger evolutions that has happened is actually the evolution, and it has actually started in the 1930s and 40s, evolution of fashion as a ready-made fashion, as we call it, right? Like you just go to a store, you pick it up. Before that, your grandparents, if you talk, okay, when I say your grandparents, talk to people who were born, if you're in India and if you're talking to people born anytime before 80s, 1980s, which is not very old, you would hear a lot of them actually constantly getting their clothes tailored. And like a general practice, they did not need any adaptation, nothing. They don't even know if they need alterations. My dad in his 70s today, apart from t-shirts, he has never worn a piece of garment, uh, apart from his underwear also, that is not tailored. He would go to a tailor shop, he will get it measured every single time, and then that's how it is. Over time, the whole industrialization and ready-made garments, and then suddenly we all thought we should be our glass shaped, and disaster happened. So why am I saying this? Let me give you an example. Rajesh, can we talk about the t-shirt? It looks like a sports jersey too, right? So there's something very common across all sports jerseys. Sometimes they break the rule, but mostly they don't. What is it?
Is it the stripes?
Not really. No. What do you mean
Yeah,
by the stripes?
they have a stripe.
Aishwarya?
Is it the stretchability of the clothes?
Quite true. That is one thing, but you can't see the stretchability. I want you to talk about something that you can see and it's in the picture right now.
Is it the upper? The collar is,
The collar is round. Okay.
and the color is the difference between the color.
Difference in color. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone? Anything else?
It's the raglan cut. That means it does
Yeah.
not have a shoulder, just as all other clothes have.
Right. The pocket. That's true.
That's
Kimberly,
huge.
Kimaya, it's not common for people to know the word raglan. I was expecting people to say just the sleeve being different. Do you have a fashion background?
I'm a special educator and a parent of a special child. Here's Kimaya. Hi.
Yes.
Hello. So, do you know the history by any chance, Kimaya, of the raglan sleeve?
No.
Okay, let's get there. So, I forgot the exact year, but this was the 1700 probably something. And so you look at the raglan sleeve, as Kimaya said, or rather her mom said, that the way we have our sleeves, this is not usually that. It comes from the neck, goes to the side seams, and you don't have the typical, you know, seam line around the armhole, right? So there was a general in the British Army, or was it the French? There was a general in a European army, and he had lost one of his arms, and he had also injured, I think, the other one. So it was very difficult. So his dresser, to make his life easier, that was the first time the raglan sleeve was ever innovated. And from then on, we see it in a lot of our t-shirts would have it, even the ones that we own. And if you sit and think about it, when we play any sports, particularly, the volleyballs or wherever there's an upper hand movement, and I have been trying to understand why the cricket uniforms don't necessarily follow this, but most other physically active sports, footballs and volleyballs and everything, they would have this raglan sleeve because the arm movement is much easier in a raglan sleeve than a regular sleeve. Anybody who owns a raglan sleeve, do you think that's true? Rajesh, we can turn this off. We can just talk to each other. Do we have anyone who owns a raglan sleeve as a t-shirt? No? Okay, next time if you're curious, just buy it.
It is more comfortable, no, Kimia? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Kimaya says yes, and we will go with yes. So, but if you're curious, nowadays it's a very common thing to even find a lot of sports merchandise online, or a lot of t-shirts anyway would have this. Just buy it and see it and just compare it. See if it makes sense. See if your arms have more room to work with. So that's why if you have a frozen shoulder, you would prefer a regular sleeve to a regular sleeve. Okay. Now, these are the small features of adaptive clothing. I am painfully close to the end of this workshop. So let me show you something. Before I show something else, like Ritika said, a lot of people even outside the community. And I said, okay, but what does it even mean to be outside the community? Do you not have a certificate? You have a certificate. Are you over a certain, you're independent, you're not independent, you're doing it, you're not doing it. Anything that makes your life easy, right? And everybody wants to make their life easy. It doesn't matter uh, if they identify with a certain identity or not. And very often our lives, like I actually very recently met a man who is like in his mid 30s, and we were just talking, and he of course asked me, what do I do? I told him, what do I do? And da, da, da. And he thought, oh, okay, interesting thing. And of course not for me, because I'm this able-bodied very young person. And then suddenly he said, can you give me examples of your product? And I said, oh, like I told you guys, all the parents at home, Velcro shirt. He said, I would love to have a Velcro shirt because I always struggle with my buttons. I have never, since I was a child, been able to button up well. I just don't know. I faltered. And then I slowly started asking him questions like, do you like to hold things that are nice and big? And do you really hate those thin straws? And he said, I hate thin straws. So as we progressed, I said, I wouldn't even call it a diagnosis, but what seems like you don't have very poor fine motor skills and your gross motor skills are pretty nice. So you'll be very good with basketball. You should not play carom. And it's funny because the way our bodies are, we tend to do things accordingly as well, right? Um, I had TB when I was 6 years old, and that had affected my lungs really badly. While I was dancing and I was doing all of those things, and which meant I had a lot of stamina, I would not for my life ever try to run. And I didn't know why. Till much later, I was like, why do I do everything but not run? And this is someone who, has belts in martial arts and stuff like that. And I could do push-ups that are 100 at one go. But I couldn't run because my lungs did not have the capacity to breathe so much. Push-ups don't need as much breathing as running does. So our bodies and tells our minds in some ways, and sometimes it's the other way around, what we want to do, what we like. So given that, his body was telling him to wear more t-shirts. And then he said, I hated formal occasions. I was like, what about it do you hate? He said, I have to wear the shirts. I said, so you hate the shirts, not the formal occasions? And he said, yeah, that's true. So, there are lots and lots of people around us. And I'll give you another example. All of us these days, doctors or everybody, I think all the doctors I meet these days, irrespective of the specialization, they say, oh, sedentary lifestyle, you must be going and you have to walk, you have to do this, you have to do that. And a large part of the sedentary lifestyle means you have a really bad backache. How many of us know, and you can raise your hands either on the screen or through that, the raise hand function. How many of us know at least one person who has a really bad backache? Ritika knows. Aishwarya knows. Sign language says yay, so I think that's okay. Chinmay also has found somebody. Good. Ramita, yes. Okay. Quite a few of us, isn't it? Now imagine if this is just such a small, Zainab says yes, it's such a small group and we all seem to know at least one person. And I'm just really hoping they're all different people because the number of people who have this back problem in India is many, 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 many. According to a not so recent survey, so I don't know if the numbers are still holding, but probably it has gone worse. Chronic pain in India, 30% of adult population suffer from it. Now that chronic pain can be anywhere, your neck, your back, your anything, but a large population is also your back. So if I have to go to a formal event, I'm expected to wear pants and stuff like that, or a sari, and sometimes I can even wear a dress. But think of a poor man. Yes, Ritika.
I just thought I'd let everybody know that chronic pain, which comes under chronic neurological disorder, is recognized by the government of India as a disability.
And if I'm not wrong, that's been a very recent addition to the whole list of
Yes,
disabilities.
in 2016, yes, the newer disability.
So where were we? We were in back pain. What about back pain? Oh, yeah, men going to formal events. Or even if men are not going to formal events, even if they're just going for a coffee, I feel bad for the men because I can wear a skirt, but the chances of him being, able to flaunt a lungi and still be okay with it is very low, right? And he would be really struggling, like, I really need to wear this pair of pants. What's the one thing you really need to do when you wear a piece of pants or pair of pants, actually? Sorry. You need to bend. Is that right? Is there anybody who can wear pants without bending? If you say yes, I would call you up in the next half an hour and talk to you for many, many days. All right. Okay. Rajashri, you can turn off the screen.
Okay.
Anyone who wants to tell me what's the magic that just happened? You want to see it again? We can play it, but if you already know. Yep. Satish sir, can you play it again and pause it exactly when I tell you?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you guys were watching. Stop. Yes, suspender-like thing. Yes, we call it the handyman loops. Somebody said something else like strings to pull. Exactly. So what happened if we do that? Why did we need it? What helped? What was the magic? Anybody?
Okay, let somebody else answer. Yeah.
I think if someone is, for example, on a bed rest, or if they cannot step out of their beds or their house, I think they would really like this kind of an adaptation.
Yes, but I think more importantly, you're quite right. It is more helpful as assisted wear as well than the regular pants. But Ankita has actually nailed it. You don't need to see, look at this guy. He's not bending at all, right? The pants are on the floor and it is just put his legs in and he's not bending at all. So you can wear these pants without bending. Okay, so we can turn this off
Soumita,
right now.
is this a Zyenika product?
It is.
Yeah. So could you also mention that so that people are aware that you are showing your products?
Sure, yeah. I would have come to that. Rajeshji, we can close this now. So this is actually one of our many products that are even we have even granted design rights to it. In the world of design, they say there's nothing called design rights, but we are the very first people who have done this. And if you had noticed, even the front was a little different, but thank you, Karen. And the best part about this is that I have been accused of making people very lazy, and I'm okay with it. If people don't want to be lazy, they should have a choice. So, the whole point of having adaptive fashion is not about you not having, you needing something badly or you not needing something badly. Can you stretch yourself to really get into that blouse when you have a frozen shoulder? Can you spend another 5 minutes to button up yourself or not? It's about having a choice. It's about knowing that your body is in a certain way, sometimes naturally because of whatever your shape, like most other people have. There's nothing unnatural, there's no disability around it. Sometimes because of our specific limitations, specific disabilities. It could be acquired, it could be inborn, it could be something that you otherwise are okay with, but just some specific functions are missing. So adaptive fashion and any other universal design, I keep saying this, but adaptive fashion mainly is about giving you the choice of being lazy or not. It's okay to be lazy. And it's okay if you don't want to be. Want to work hard, go ahead. It's about giving you a choice to take an extra minute or not. Some people are very, very busy. Do you know some of the clients that I have are actually recent mothers? And they're like, we just don't have the time or the body or even have the time, the mindset to just go through this drill. So we like easy clothes. I don't know anyone, honestly, who don't like things easy. There are tons and tons of perfectionists that I know in my life, and they go back and beyond sometimes, I think, to make their lives difficult, but even they like things easy. So they like things being perfect, but they like the way to perfection to be little easy. I mean, they wish so, right? So we all want things easy, and why should we not have it? Now, Everybody talks about accessible toilets, and this is the part where I come back to where I started, which is the trial rooms. When we talk about accessible toilets, and maybe some people will one day talk about accessible trial rooms. Actually, I just a few months back had a very long conversation with Westside, and we talked about having accessible trial rooms, and they have already opened them. But you know what they don't have? They don't have a bed, an adult size bed. You know what most people with wheelchairs need, or people with a lower body immobility need? They need a bed to dress up. We don't dress up sitting or standing. We dress up lying down. So while the wheelchairs can go in the toilets or the trial rooms now, it's pretty pointless because I won't be able to unzip my pants and pull it down and then pull it up again unless you have a Zyenika product or any other adaptive fashion product like, the one with the handy loop. There are ones where we call it the wingman. This one was a wingman one too. So there's a front flap, and you may then use it even without having to open your pants at all. And there are many, many people who need to use the toilet differently. So why not give them that choice? Before this, there were people who would be traveling and not use the bathrooms at all. Able-bodied women know that pain also because bathrooms for women are a pain. Now imagine not having to do something so natural. And I have had people come and say, thank you for those pair of pants. By the way, we make more things that are more than pants, but those pants have been very, very interesting for many people. But so they have come back and they said, I was so, calm and relaxed during my exam, my job interview. One girl even said her date, which was, I love that because why should everything be about this necessity? What about having some fun, having romance, having some, real life, right? Guys, jobs come and jobs go, but love, what fun. So, and they liked it because they did not have to worry about drinking more water. They did not have to worry about having that extra coffee. They did not have to worry about, oh my God, 3 hours of the exam, I don't know, and I'm already feeling something, what to do. And you go to an exam hall usually early, but is it too early? Then do you have to go to the toilet? I mean, this is such an important aspect of your life, and you can really do without being worried about it. And the one thing that I think where fashion stands apart from every other thing, I guess, is that it's not just a piece of garment that protects you. It is a very important function of clothing to protect you. But it is also a very important function of clothing to talk on your behalf. When I see somebody wearing a sari and something like Kritika is wearing, it gives me a certain impression. Right impression, wrong impression is not the point. A impression. Right? When I see Aishwarya with a t-shirt, it's give me an impression. When you see me with a scarf in a not so cold something, it gives you an impression. You can think I'm mad. I can think that, oh no, I really need this. Some can think, oh, that's tight. So it will speak on your behalf. Then many of us, of course, very knowingly and sometimes not very consciously, we tweak that knowledge. We will not wear black anything to a wedding when if we know that those people have certain, folklores in that culture about black clothing in weddings, right? Even if you don't know if the family themselves have it or not, we'll play it safe. We will not wear a nice red Banarsi sari at a funeral. So we tweak what we want to say through our clothes. We express through our clothes. So should the right of our expression just be taken away because whatever, I can't button up easily, I can't bend something, so it's clothing is not just a necessity. It is a tool. It's a power of communication. And as I say that, every time you walk into a room, you will take at least 30 seconds to open your mouth, but you have spoken because people can see what you're wearing. That can only be possible through adaptive fashion. Now, why was that not a big conversation? Well, because till even 40, 50 years ago, people were tailoring their own clothes. People were getting their own raglan sleeves. People were making sure if they're fat, they have the waist, a little more, and if the bust is thinner, they have it a little thinner, or the other way around. If they want a pocket, they get a pocket. Unless you're like my master. I mean, I used to have this master when I was really, really young, and he used to say, I will not move your neckline any lower. And I was like, please, a little bit more lower. So unless you have those very protective master Gs, you can probably get anything that you want out of them. So if you think about it, time immemorial, we actually always have been living adaptive fashion. We always have had adaptive fashion. What we didn't have is adaptive fashion at scale, ready-made, off the shelf. And that's what a lot of us are now trying to do, and shake people up a little bit and say, hey, we all are different. We need different things. Just give it to us. So yeah, that's it. Any questions? Happy to hear.
I will first like to ask you if you could give us a few examples of the other products that are available with Zyenika Fashion.
Okay. Rajeshri, maybe the second item. So the first magnetic shirt that you saw, that was also a Zyenika product. And a lot of people bought it just out of sheer, they thought it's so cool to wear a magnetic shirt. They didn't really need it. So yeah, we'll wait.
Do you have a
Rajeshri.
website that you would like to put in the chat
Yes,
box?
it's zyenika.com. Ritika, do you mind typing it for me?
I'll do that. Yes, could you tell me, please?
It's
ZYENIKA
ZYENIKA.com.
Zyenika.com. Okay.
Okay, but Rajeshri, I wanted you to play the video that I had sent you, the second one.
Yeah.
If possible. That's my mom.
Rajeshri, could you yeah, okay. All right. And is that under you?
That's me and mom, yes.
Okay.
And
okay.
that's just a thinner version of me, not so
I
long
know.
back.
Okay. It's a thinner version of it.
But my mom has played a very, very important role in, of course, my life, like all moms do in other people's lives, but also in Zyenika. She is not just the co-founder, but so I was bedridden for 4 years, where I could just about move my fingers and nothing else. She had to force my jaws open to feed me. And she also models for us, as you can see.
Yeah.
Rajeshri, can we turn this off put the second video on, please? And she still is my primary caregiver. Give me a second before you play it. So she has brought in a lot of, caregiving perspective for the design for us. And this is one of them. Can we start from the beginning?
Satish, from the beginning again.
Yeah. Thanks. So this is actually a back open dress.
Yeah.
And it's getting clipped on the shoulder.
And you're also taking care of dignity here, which is so important.
I honestly don't think fashion should be called fashion without dignity, right? So yes,
Correct.
It's very important. So see, a part of the dignity is in our back open dress, we actually close it on the side. So the back is completely covered.
Yes.
That's my dad, by the way.
Okay.
They're very, very homegrown. And, we decided...
As most interesting, big...
can we stop the video here? 1 second. Can we just pause it here? Yes. So I just wanted you to notice that, it's something so... See, he's pulling it up, right? He's pulling up the kurta. And it's very easy. And I also wanted to show a man doing the caregiving for once. Usually the women do it.
Yeah.
So it's a joke, but it's a sad joke. If a man can make somebody wear this dress easily, it must be a very easy dress to wear. So anyway, so that's one. Rajeshri, unfortunately, I don't remember what's the fourth video that I had sent you. Could you share? I don't
Only 3 videos were there, ma'am.
There are no other videos? Okay, sorry.
Mr. Rao had a question.
Yes,
Yeah,
we can turn off the screen, please.
three short questions.
Yes.
One is why there are no saris for young, very short people?
Yes.
Because there's always one standard and people fold it and use it. People who are very short.
Yes.
What is the
I
reason?
know the pain. I'm a very short person. Well, I'm a short person. Rajesh, could you turn off the video so maybe I can also see Dr. Rao? I mean, Mr. Rao. Oh, you have it. Oh, thank you. Yes. Short
Yeah,
people. I agree. Do you want to give me your next two questions? I can answer them all together.
yeah. Second is tying sari made easy.
Sari made easy.
Yeah,
Is that
tying
what you
sari.
asked?
Yeah,
Sari.
tying
Yes.
sari
Okay.
is tying sari made easy.
Times. I don't think I followed. Ritika, if you could hear him better.
Yeah, is there any way that somebody can wear the sari without much problem?
Sari. Yes. Yes. Of
Sari,
course.
and he was specifically talking about sari. I suppose, let's say people who are short statured.
Yeah.
You know, he
Sari.
said they fold it and they wear it. Is there any other way to do
Sure.
it?
Okay. And
The
the
third
third
one is
question?
has Government of India issued any guidelines to IIFTs regarding inclusive fashion to be included in the curriculum?
Very good question. I love these questions. I will take the third first. No, and I have been trying to work on that. Ritika, maybe you and I can, you can help me work on that. I have actually created a curriculum. There are two master classes for fashion communication and fashion design, both inclusive. A lot of people don't understand that a huge part in inclusive fashion is also the inclusive fashion communication. And well, I have spoken to a few NIFs. They like what I have. This I also have a version where it's a semester long, and I was invited to deliver that, but it needed me to go to another city for 6 months, so I kind of shied away from it. But the idea is we should actually need the government to talk about it. We need the government to give guidelines, as you suggested, but we also need the industry to understand, because nobody's making it criminal to become inclusive, right? So you can just become inclusive even without the government intervening. What they need to understand is the huge economy that's right there. If Think about it, if today I go and I find something easy for me to wear, and I take my friend shopping and she finds something for herself too, you're not just catering to the community, you're also catering to the friends and family of the community, because they would prefer you to other people. That always happens. We like brands that are friendly to us. It's no matter how much we say that, oh, it's just business and it's just transaction. It's not. It's about human beings connecting to something. Until we all become I think brands should talk about becoming a little bit more inclusive, not just because they will have a wider customer base or a more loyal customer base, simply because they will have much higher revenue. The community and their friends together, I think, is a $1.3 trillion industry. So if you ignore this community, that's a very, very big business mistake, I would say, right? So I think I've answered the third question. The second one, yes, people can make saris easier to wear. So nowadays, you do see a lot of it, even from mainstream sari brands. They give you this 1 minute sari. Some people give you the jacket saris, and they're all kinds. I myself have done a few where I call it the slip-on saris. It's just like wearing a piece of very easy loose dress, and then it's still after you wear it, it looks like a very well done petite sari, and it has that very the royal sense of it, where the large blouses and stuff, they're all one piece. So we make sure that when we talk about disabilities, a lot of people talk about pain and a lot of people talk about mobility, both of which happens a lot. But one frustrating thing that happens is also fatigue. Many of us with chronic illnesses, we are just too tired. we're just too tired to do anything. So at that time, even an easy sari can be not so easy. And that's why I make, so, oh, it's an easy sari, but you have to wear that extra piece of blouse. No, thank you. I just want to go back to bed. So that's where we have this one piece sari. But yeah, more and more people are picking it up. And like I said, who doesn't like easy? So, the consumers for these are more and more women in their 30s going to office, and they want to, have a sari on without having to spend the time. And as a friend recently told me, is that you have a physical disability. I just have a learning disability of how to wear a sari. I just cannot get it right. So you never know what you're catering to, with something that's adaptive. And your first question was short. Incidentally, there is an adaptive brand in the UK called the DV's brand, and she only talks about catering to people 5 and under. By that logic, I am also a part of a consumer. I am 5, but in the UK, 5 is really, really short. So when I was in the Europe, I could never find anything to buy, be it clothes or shoes. I would be in the kids section, but in the kids section also, I mean, the kids at the end of the day don't have a full grown body. So those struggles are there. And in India, unfortunately, we learn about fashion. I don't know why, because we are very strong with our fashion historically. But as far as the ready-made industry is concerned, we have learned and we picked up a lot without adapting it to our population. So usually, for example, a woman's garment is made for women who are 5'6". I honestly know very, very, very few women who are 5'6". And the number goes even lower if it's in the eastern part of India or even the southern part of India. So on an average, an Indian woman is 5'2". So, and when you make something, it's people say, oh, you just alter it. It's not that easy. When you alter it, you do shorten the length, but it's still, somebody's thighs, where it's supposed to be the thighs, it's the knees, where it's supposed to be the knees is something else, and it never fits well. And I have always been so upset because, like I said, I'm a short person. I've always been so upset with people wearing this beautiful, embroidery at the end of their dress, and I have to cut it off. I'm like, where is justice in this? I've been very strong about my sense of justice. But yes, when we talked about shape, I should have probably also mentioned height. We have to cater to everyone, like you said. And that's the whole essence of inclusive fashion. Fashion should not just be adapting to certain physical challenges, because I don't think being short is a challenge unless you're, into dwarfism. I have also heard people in India who are above 6'1", especially men, they don't have clothes to wear. Even 6+ men, they don't have too many choices. Their pants are never their pants. And that's the only time I felt, oh, okay, it's better to be short because I can cut it off. I don't know what they are doing. So yeah, I think we need to think about what we are catering to and who we are catering to. And very often when we talk about a target audience, we talk about a target group, we talk about segments in the marketing conversations, we don't really look at the layers in between. And that's very important for products.
Yeah, I should appreciate your eloquence and also sensitivity to the disabled persons.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Please
I said
unmute
thank you
yourself.
so much, Mr. Rao, and thank you so much, Soumita, for actually very beautifully replying to all the 3 questions that Mr. Rao put. I would may be able to be of assistance for 2 particular things that you said, and I will speak to you offline to see if I can facilitate that for you. Thank you so much, everybody. If anybody else has any question for Soumita, we are already 12 minutes, 13 minutes past our session, but you're most welcome to ask her, because getting her to answer questions will be of help to all of us if anybody has any specific questions.
You can also ask questions in the group, yes.
WhatsApp group, yes. You can always ask questions in our WhatsApp group, and I think Remita has given the WhatsApp group. We will have 2 sessions tomorrow. One of them is here. Mr. Rao has a session. from 6 to 7. And he's talking about caring for oneself before caring for others, self-care before caring for others. And we have, in fact, we have 2 sessions tomorrow. Between 3 and 4, we have a very interesting session of an online walkthrough of the Museum of Art and Photography in Bangalore, which is I think the first of its kind, inclusive. It's a mainstream museum, but it's been made very inclusive to people with all disabilities. We have a film on that on the website also, which you can watch. But tomorrow, the gentleman who heads the is a visually impaired gentleman called Selish, and his team together will give us an online walkthrough of an exhibition that's happening at MAP Bangalore. If there are no other questions, thank you so much, Rajesh ji and your team, for facilitating the session for Soumita. This is Ritika Sahani, and we have Rajesh ji, and Trinayani is celebrating the Daan Utsav. We will continue doing that tomorrow and day after.
If anyone could tell me one thing one of your takeaways from this session, anything.
No, there were so many things that we can't put it into one sentence now. It's that way.
Yeah, what's top of your mind? One thing.
I think for me it has been that fashion is tweaks our expression and talks on our behalf, and is also a mode of communication, which I will take with me now from now.
Thanks, Aishwarya. Anyone else?
Yeah, I feel that you are the right person to shake Government of India
Oops.
to make rules regarding inclusive fashion.
Thank you. We'll try that, and thanks, Ritika, for joining in on that one. Anyone else? Maybe you had a different thought before, now you don't. Yeah, Chinmay.
So I wasn't like aware about fashion being inclusive in trial rooms and all of that. So that's something I learned today. So how it can be tailorized or inclusive in the trial room, like how the setup there can be modified.
Thanks.
Ma'am, I've never heard about inclusive trial room. From this session, I got a lot. I got to know a lot about adaptive fashion in general. I never had so much idea.
Thank you. Thanks, Anna. Dr. Rajesh and everyone. Thank you. So I love to hear your takeaways also, because it tells me if I am doing the job right. I was not sure how to facilitate this session, because usually I know the audience I'm speaking to. And in this one case, I really didn't. I was like going in blind. But you have been a wonderful, very interactive audience. I would request you to do something which Mr. Rao had asked me to do, or as well. I mean, join the force. Every time now you go to a store and you don't find something that you like, just ask for it. Ask for the trial rooms now that you know that that's an option, even if you don't need it, right? You see it and you say, hey, you know what, my friend can't come here because you just are not very accessible, you're not inclusive, you will not find it. Governments can make laws, implementing it is another conversation. But like I said, to be good, you don't need government permission. So nobody's going to put you behind bars. So this has to be a movement. And a movement cannot be done by me or one more person or 5 other people. The movement has to be done by you. So if any time now, and don't just talk to their managers, write to the MDs and the CEOs. Their emails are so easily available nowadays on Google. It's really nice if you could just do that. Say, hey, you know what? I wanted a shirt which should have had Velcro option, and I don't have it. Why don't you have it? Now, just imagine if you and your friends, and it doesn't matter if you really need it, but you know that that's something that should have been there. So now, just imagine if the CEO of, I don't know, talk about your favorite brand, whatever it is, Louis Philippe or whoever, right? Which is basically the Aditya Birla Group. And if that MD gets an email every day from different people, then one day it's like, hey, that looks like a demand for it. Let's do it. Businesses work on demand, right? Create it. So that's
one task I would like to give you is one of my blind lawyer friends is willing to file PILs on important topics. So if you can prepare a proposal on inclusive fashion, what is
Yeah.
not being done and what can be done, he'll be ready to file PIL before the High Court.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll do that. I love this session.
I told you. Thank you so much. So on the note that Soumita has said, that corporate social responsibility, corporates will do what they have to do. What we need to be bothered about is individual social responsibility. What are we doing as individual? And if we can raise our voices at any given point of time and be advocates, that would be a movement. Inclusion actually starts with I. And awareness is not one person's job. It is the job of each and every person who's a citizen of this country. Soumita, I'm glad you've enjoyed this. I know we were not a lot of people, but we were very interactive. I am so happy with everybody who's here and who's taken something. Rekha, thank you so much for joining in. And we have a lot of my regular Trinayani friends and supporters and well-wishers. So thank you so much for being with us. And have a good night. Thank you, Soumita. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.